Game Clique.
What's good, everybody, and welcome to Game Clique, the literal blackest video game podcast in the industry. This podcast is so black, it's wondering if his favorite artist was at one of them Diddy parties.
All right, I'm not. First of all, like I'm not wondering.
I don't know.
Any of that.
Beyonce could have
My
been.
favorite artists are like in Britain somewhere.
Oh, okay.
We good. Right? You got Emily Sandé and Melanie Fiona. She stopped making music a long time ago, so I'm good.
I don't know, man. Meek was there. That means anybody on my list could be there.
No, I think what would be more interesting is figuring out which video game characters was at the Diddy party. So there's Jury from Street Fighter for sure. For sure. But yeah, I'm Duke Games. Man, it's been a minute. It has been a whole. You thought we were going. You thought we got canceled. I did. I thought we got canceled. No, it's been so much happening. I actually moved. I am in a new place. Living it up, doing well. And you know, you've been going through life changes and stuff. We won't share that on here, but you know, things have been happening. But I did find out that you hate me. I did find that out. I found that out most recently. So if for those who don't know, I have a issue where I just always want to look my best, quote unquote. And I had my hair retwisted. I let Champ know when I had my retwist, when I had the fresh cut, the fresh beard, everything. And we were, you know, I was like, yeah, let's, you know, start back up the recording, blah, blah, blah. And he waited until just when the frizziness started to say, yeah, it's time to record the new episode. So I found out he hates me. He's a whole hater in his life. But
I don't know how.
I'm here.
I don't know the science behind dreads. I don't know how that works. I don't know.
I just found out that I gotta stop doing maintenance and start doing this procedure called interlocking because my life is too active for traditional maintenance. But I just found it out. I've been out here on my own in those. But yeah, wait.
But yeah, so I it's gonna be a little weird. So like you insinuated, Duke, we've took a little break. We've been busy playing Helldivers and everything like that, some other stuff. So
we actually play video games together now, y'all. So much has happened.
Wow.
so much has happened.
So much slander and such little time. But
I'm just pointing out facts.
So normally, like, this should have been our first episode where this kind of like getting to know us, this Q&A thing. But I figured with the break, this would be the perfect time to kind of like reboot and take this time to introduce ourselves, ask each other questions, stuff like that. But we're going to get to that in a second. But we're going to start the episode the way we normally start every episode, with what we've been playing, right?
Yes. Yeah. And it's we got a long break to cover. Like there was like multiple segments of games I'm still technically playing for me personally. I've been living it up. My pocket has been crying, but I'm playing myself. So I know one of them we may get down to in a rundown, but there was Prince of Persia, Granblue Relink, amazing. Been playing that. I made it to endgame, farming weapons. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. You know that's out now. Oh boy, my baby. That's the pride and joy. Helldivers, completely came out of nowhere for me. I was not interested at all, but it just became so amazing. I'm really, really glad to have that in my library. And you know, I'm still playing my traditionals like Warframe and Overwatch. I ironically have been taking a long break from Genshin Impact. I am not playing Genshin Impact as of right now.
Very shocked. Well, if you had out of all those that you rapid fired, if you had to pick one, what you want to talk about?
Which one do I want to talk about? Just because I feel like it won't get a lot of credit in other places unless you're like specifically checking for it. I want to mention Granblue Fantasy Relink.
Okay.
This game has been in development for up 10 years. It was once going to be developed, at least the gameplay wise, from Platinum Games. But Side Games decided that they didn't like the direction fully, and so they took over the combat and moved forward in their own plans. You can still see some of that Platinum Games DNA there when it comes to like dodging and general combo flow and things like that. But it is a game with a lot of characters. Of course, Granblue Fantasy Relink is based off of the Gacha series, the mobile Gacha series, but this is not a Gacha game. You can get every character that they offer. I think it's like 13 or 17 characters. I can't remember. And then there's going to be 2 more characters coming in a few months. And the story is just a-okay. The story lasted too long, in my opinion. But it really doesn't. I can't say that it's going to win any awards for like story or anything else. I think what they really championed was the multiplayer when it works, and just farming up weapons and getting like your gear and these different sigils, which impacts like how your gear works in the game. And it's just a fun, grind for people that are looking for something like that. And eventually, they're going to release these raids in the future where you can take super cracked out geared characters and try to beat those bosses. So I enjoyed it. I've taken a little break right now because Final Fantasy VII is out, but I think Granblue Relink, for anyone that was checking for it or looking for it, is definitely a good buy.
So I know we talked about this briefly right before it came out, and based on a lot of the key terms you use, like raids, like the online multiplayer and the RPG elements, I always want to automatically call it an MMO, but it's not an MMO.
It is not that,
right?
Not at all. The most people you can have in a lobby at one time is 4 people, including yourself. So it is not that at all. The way that it works is essentially there's missions that you'll be able to queue up for at a desk, and it's kind of like a Monster Hunter is the best way to put it. In that sense, you queue up for these missions, and some of them may be missions where you're able to run around a field and like eventually get to like the area with the boss, but almost all of them is simply a boss arena, and it's you and the other 3 players trying to take them down with your unique builds and characters. And the thing that makes the game, I think, somewhat interesting is for anyone that plays Final Fantasy 14, is their boss designs are based off of Final Fantasy 14 boss designs with like the telegraph movements and the different AoE colors and things like that, and like movement positions is being the difficulty kind of thing. How do you dance around the field? And it has an added layer just because they have a jump button, so that increases like your different opportunities to either avoid or get hit by the damage.
Bold to release this because this came out February, right?
Yes. It came, I can't remember the exact date, but it came out in I think the end of January is what I want to say. It was a bold move to release it then, but I think the only thing they had going for it was the fact that so many people were checking for this game for a very long time. And with it releasing before with Final Fantasy, before Final Fantasy VII, I think it definitely secured its own market for sure. I think if it released after, it would not have done as well as it's doing right now. So yeah, I think it's fine what they did. I would have loved a larger gap for sure, especially for my wallet. But I think they made the right call.
Yeah, I mean, not just Final Fantasy, but Persona 3 Reload. Like, there's a lot of the JRPG plate.
There's a lot of JRPGs coming right now. Yeah, it's pretty old. But this one, the other thing is that, because it follows in the nature of like a character action, is heavily action based. So different niches. And there's definitely like the the loyal JRP fan base that's like, no, I want my traditional turn based. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth offers like a hybrid if you want, and also make it almost fully, stop and start kind of gameplay if you want to do that.
So, what is? I'm not sure if you answered this already in your own way. So, like, somebody who they're looking for a JRPG, right? They already know Final Fantasy was here now, but like, this game came out, Final Fantasy's right around the corner, Persona 3 also right around the corner. What is going to if it was your job to convince them to get this versus
If
that?
it was my job. So one, I think I would ask them, what kind of experience are you looking for,
Mm.
right? If you're looking for a top quality premium story-based experience, and that automatically removes Relink. And now you're looking at Final Fantasy VII and Persona, right? If you want character action gameplay, then Relink enters the conversation. If you want something that you can play with your friends while still being a JRPG, then it's a Relink, right? Or if you just want more, quick hop in, kill a couple of bosses, maybe get some good loot, and then exit off kind of thing. I think Relink definitely, serves that niche. Like there's a lot of people that don't really have a lot of time to commit to something. And after you make it through the story, it's just like, I'm focus on building up this character or maybe another and just move on. The RNG sucks, so you will be grinding for a long time, but there's a lot of people who like that. I would say anyone that's looking for, just something a little less committed while still being a JRPG, absolutely check into Relink. I don't think it's a perfect game by any means, but one thing that I do think that I love for sure is something so simple. So I don't know if you play a lot of JRPGs, you know, like the default walk and then the run animation for these characters, it's hella slow. My favorite Final game of all time is Final Fantasy X. And when Tidus is running on the plains, I'm like, if you don't pick up the speed, brother, and Relink, these characters are booking it, okay? Like, it is insane how fast they are running across these fields. Like, I actually chuckle a few times, like, with a few of the different characters, because it's just like, why are you running this fast? But you are able to get where you need to go or want to go very, very quickly in this game. And I hope that more, honestly, JRPGs experiment with that, just with like faster running speeds, because I don't think it hindered my experience as far as immersion in any way. In that sense, I feel like there's more things I could say about Relink, but it's just a fun time. Yeah, pretty much.
Hell yeah! And it's PlayStation and PC, or is it just PlayStation?
PlayStation and PC.
That's what I
the
thought.
Unfortunate thing is PlayStation and PC, but it's not crossplay. And they have no plans at this time anyway to bring crossplay to it. So I do think that is a big ding on it, but something to consider.
Hell yeah, man! Granblue Fantasy Relink.
Really?
I've been playing like you. I've been playing a lot. We've been gone for a while. I've been playing Persona 3, Helldivers 2. We talked about that. The thing I want to focus on is something a little more niche. Niche is not really the right word, because these games always sell like in the millions or whatever. They always have like a million player base and stuff like that. WWE 2K24.
You just got that.
I just got it, and I've already been sinking.
You already
sinking a ton of hours in it. I love this thing, man. So, full transparency, I don't know if we talked about this before on air. Like, Duke, like I'm a big,
I know,
a big pro wrestling.
It's unfortunate.
I'm in there.
Like, goes to the show, like has the billboards, brings his family with him.
There's a whole
gives free tickets to people in chats. Like, he is a big,
there's a whole
big wrestling fan.
I'm in there, baby. I'm in there.
Has wrestling belts, designs wrestling belts for tournaments. Like, it is his thing.
So yeah,
is that one behind you? Actually,
it is. That's what Ravens won.
The Ravens is ridiculous. But
you audio listeners, you're missing out. But yeah, man, I get these games every year when there's one in there. And the 2K franchise for a long time, for the hardcore wrestling fans, they've been kind of like bad to middling. Like 2K really has fell into this kind of like this groove, kind of how they are with the NBA franchise and how EA has been doing with Madden, where they feel like they figured out how to make them, and they've been coasting for a while. What happened in 2020 is, so 2K was making these games alongside another company called Ukes. right? Ukes has been making wrestling games since No Mercy, since the Nintendo 64 days. So they've been helping 2K make those games. They left to help AEW make their game, which ended up not being good, but that's another story. That's a story for another guy.
Isn't it always kids?
So Ukes left and took their engine and everything with them. So 2K was like, I don't know. We don't know what we're doing. We didn't predict this happening. And then like 2K20 came out and it was like the worst game in years because they had to create an engine from the ground up in like months time and it was trash. They took a year off, came back in 2022 and like really knocked it out the park. And ever since then, like each year they were taking that system and like incrementally getting better and better and better. And now we're at 24 and this might be the best of the 2K series that I've played. I know there's some people that like some hardcore people that are going to argue the fact. I know a lot of people like 2K18. I think that's the one a lot of people like. But this one is a banger.
So I haven't been as a non-avid fan of the wrestling circle, but I haven't really been involved in wrestling games since like WWE SmackDown versus Raw or Here Comes the Pain. What makes the 2K series different than these older wrestling games that people may have been engaged with on the PS2?
Well, so one for me, it's finally, especially with 24 and 23, they really leaned into the wackiness that the SmackDown series used to have. Like SmackDown, its career mode, the thing that it's known for the most are the insane cut scenes and like how wacky it leans into how ridiculous WWE was in that time. And for a while, 2K was really trying to be a little too serious and grounded and mature, and that's just not what wrestling is. Wrestling's supposed to be this weird-ass soap opera, masculine kind of weird thing. And now they're kind of really leaned into it where there's people getting married in the ring. There is like car crashes. There are people almost dying. It's like they're really... So ridiculousness aside, which is one reason why I do like 24. Another reason, which is a reason that people loved the SmackDown series so much, is how much there is to do in these games. So in 2K24, you have what's called showcase mode. So the showcase mode in the 2K games normally takes one wrestler and kind of lets you play through the highlights of their career. So in this one, because this year is the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania, it takes the best matches of all the WrestleManias and like you have to play through them and recreate the moments of each of those matches, and those are done like really well.
Do you do it with the wrestlers over there, or you're doing like your own custom version of the wrestler, or different?
You're controlling the wrestler who won that match, and you have to recreate the certain
and you got to do exactly what they did. That's cool.
Yeah,
I like that. That's nice. All right.
So that's pretty dope. Then you have My Rise, which is the story mode with your created wrestler. So that's when you create a wrestler from the ground up, and then you go through these like really well written, basically career modes where you go and you interacting with real WWE wrestlers and the game's fully voice acted. So they really brought these wrestlers in. Some of them are better.
I was going to ask, is it the original? Is it the original voice actors or characters? Or wrestlers?
All the wrestlers are voiced by themselves, and it's to varying, quality,
varying degree. Yeah.
But the cool thing about it, and the first time they did this was last year, but there is a male version and a female version of the My Rise story mode. So depending on whether you create a male or female wrestler, the story modes are completely different. So that's pretty dope. You got GM mode where you play as a general manager and you have to like actually book the show.
That's what I did when I was in Slack.
Yeah, man, I love that.
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
So yeah, GM.
And my favorite thing to do, I'm pretty sure they got this, but was always the matches backstage. Like I just loved fighting backstage. That was my favorite thing.
Yes. Now there's still, so with the SmackDown, they really leaned into it where there were different backstage areas. You could like be right behind the stage. You could be in the parking lot. You could be in like the garage. It was like a bunch of stuff to do back there. That they kind of got away
down a bit.
only because WWE nowadays doesn't do too much stuff like that. So I think they're trying to echo how the product is now versus back in the day where like stuff was wild. So
I need to see them scrapping out where, people pull up in the SUV, like you out on the road, you getting banked. I need that. I need that. Bring that back. Bring that back. That was the wrestling I love. But it was like, we not even done. like the match over, we not done.
Nope.
This is real beef. Real beef. That was what I love.
So
all right.
Yeah.
So this just came out. And it's okay if you don't know, but I'm curious, like, is there a projected roadmap for these kind of games, or is it just like everything is already there and that's it?
So yes, so there are DLC packs that are going to be coming out from now until I believe November. And each pack has 5 wrestlers. So they already announced it. They already announced the roadmap. You're gonna get wrestlers like I don't know if you're familiar with. She's a new person, Jade Cargill.
I'm not.
Yeah, but she's kind of a crossover person, where she didn't really get her name from wrestling. She's kind of like a fitness influencer. That's where she got her.
Is he on Linux now?
No. Carmelo Hayes is in here.
Okay.
Carmelo Hayes is in the base game. So
okay.
But CM Punk, I'm sure you're familiar with him. He's an older guy.
I remember CM, yeah.
CM Punk's going to get added in the first DLC coming up in like next month. Diamond
no Linux.
The Dudley Boys, no Linux. Linux is like... Linux has wrestled maybe like one match. We have no idea. We have no idea.
He's famous in my book. He's amazing. He is the best wrestler I ever seen.
Yes, the moves. That's what we're worried about here.
Yes, amazing.
No.
Yo, Apple is a scam.
Was that Apple or did Discord do that?
I thought it was Apple base.
Oh no. Turn that off. Get it out of here. We're trying to do a show here.
Listen.
That was the most inopportune time because that was like a very gay subject, and then all of a sudden now this comes up.
Fluidity is what I believe in. But anyway. For those who don't know, I'm only 98% homosexual. There's a 2%. There's a 2%. But
yeah, like I said, the roadmap is already laid out from now until November. You got the Dudley Boys, you got CM Punk, you got Diamond Dallas Page. Yeah, so that's been fully transparent. You can buy that later, or that comes included in the deluxe version, which we do need to touch on. So the deluxe version has in our social media.
The Black women.
Yes. We touched on that on Instagram. So that's the first it's the first WWE game cover that exclusively has women wrestlers on it. It has Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair is the first Black woman in history to be featured on the cover of a WWE video game.
Yep.
So yeah, making history. Yeah, she's dope.
In 2024.
Took long enough. Right on time.
I think about Beyonce's quote all the time at Coachella. She was like, when she was the first time to headline, Black woman is a headline at Coachella. She was like, ain't that about a bit? Like right there on stage. I agree though. It's a shame, but here we are breaking barriers in 2024. It is what it is.
Hey, somebody got to do it. Somebody's got to be the first.
Speaking of which, and we're not going to put her name out there right now, but just so happy that we hired a social media manager. We have been through the struggle and we finally got one. And she's amazing. So shout out to her. In the things. Did you do it on purpose?
Yeah, I did it on purpose that time.
Okay. All right. But yeah, shout out to our social media man. Dope. So expect more things, more of us in the future.
Yeah, we're going to be a little more like, I'm glad we had that break. We're going to be able to be a little more consistent. We're going to be able to give y'all some more content, some more product, and a more consistent base. Thanks to her help, thanks to Duke's help, thanks to everybody's help, and also thanks to the help of Black Power Media. You was about to say something before I did the ad read?
I was. So two things. One, because we didn't mention this at all, and I think we'd be foolish if we didn't. But Tekken 8 had came out, and I had the chance to commentate some more Tekken 8 tournaments during the break. So we'll definitely be covering some more esports things in the future. Really quickly, I know it's been super long since our last video, but I am always going to shout out our viewers and our commenters. So the last time we uploaded, we had Kelly Jammy come through the chat and donate $. Thank you so much, Kelly. We're bringing in the money. Like, I don't care what you say. At this point, it's like every single video we getting $. Now. At this point, everybody can say that, So
I would like $1.
I appreciate it. I would too. The money goes to good causes. And we also had the Jaman93 consistently in the chat on the live stream. We also had a person who unfortunately did not know that we had a live chat, and they were commenting throughout the entire time. And I was trying to get them to come over, but Centaur Cinema, a new viewer, I can't say a new viewer, they probably was watching before, but a new commenter, they came through the chat. Much love to them. They had a question, and I wanted to leave it to you. They said, did you think about Star Ocean 2? Did you play it? No?
It was all right. Yeah, that was all right.
So I know that I didn't play Star Ocean 2 directly. My first Star Ocean game was not The Last Hope. It was So the End of Time or something like that. It was the one with Fate, if anyone remembers, with the main character of Fate. So that was my first Star Ocean. I did play a little bit of the remakes which are super gorgeous, by the way, the new remasters. But just wanted to touch base with there. Centaur Cinema, you are amongst the geeks. Much love. Hope you continue to watch. Yeah. Black Power Media.
I mean, it was a cooler segue when I did it the first time, but here we go. Black Power.
Okay, so anyway, I did my job.
Thank you.
You didn't do yours.
Black Power Media is a Black radical independent media project who seek to challenge the narrative about Black politics and the Black condition with shows like Game Clique, I Mix What I Like, Remix Morning Show, and future programming. They will deliver the news and information our community and others need to break through today's mainstream propaganda machine, baby. So make sure, if you're not already watching us on youtube.com/Black Power Media, period. I promise I know how to read. Go to that website, hit the subscribe.
I do not promise for him. I do not promise for him.
Go to there.
For just $2, you can also sponsor Hooked on Phonics for Champ. He needs help over here.
And for as little as $2 per month, you can go to patreon.com/Black Power Media and help support shows like ourselves and make sure Black media and Black news coverage thrive. Baby. Anything else? Any other critiques? Duke?
The lisp is coming out. I hear it. I'm not going to trigger it. Nah, it's just good to be here, man. No, it's been a while. Good to see you.
Well, look, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with our very in-depth Q&A section. Don't go anywhere. What's good, everybody, and welcome back to Game Clique. I'm your boy, the CharmCityChamp. Still here with the Duke of Games, and we're about to get into our Q&A section right after we figured we talked during that very quick break, and we figured since we've been gone for a long time, it's pretty important for us to touch on at least a couple of the bigger news events that happened while we were gone.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's hit those really quick. Mass layoffs.
We touched on this actually last year, but it just continued into this year. Like, it just rolled over. Like, it's insane. It's not stopping. I think one of the latest was Sony laid off its entire VR department for one section anyway of its VR.
The London
In
studio.
London studio was there 900 employees, I think. So that it just keeps continuing. And as an advocate of video games and the stories that they bring, the work, the art, storytelling, and things like that, and music. Oh my God, music. I always want to champion the developers and the creators who bring this to us. And we said it before. I just really hope that somehow a union or something comes aboard. Unfortunately, I know that at some point you champion Sega for being one of the first for having a union, but I'm hearing now that they are firing people in mass in order to circumvent even the union standards. So something's got to give in this industry. It doesn't make any sense how much money is transferring between hands, and yet somehow the workers are still exploited. But we know what that's like, right? But
Yeah.
But I just wanted to highlight that really quickly.
Yeah, I don't want to be the guy that's like looking with rose tinted glasses or whatever, but it's good that we're in a time in the gaming industry where indie development is really kind of flourishing more so than maybe it's ever been. Success stories like Minecraft and like Hollow Knight and Roblox and other games like that. So it is a possibility for a lot of these people to just go into into the industry independently and still have just as much success. But I do know a lot of people. Along with that comes a lot of fear of failure. There's a lot more risk you're taking. You got to front a lot of that upfront money and investment that a lot of people can't afford, which is why a lot of these developers like to be bought out by people like Sony, like people like Microsoft and stuff like that. And it's a bad story all around. But with people, because we've mentioned this, it's not just Sony. Microsoft, after buying Activision, they've laid off a lot of people. Toys for Bob, a complete company under Microsoft, is now an independent studio. Microsoft just let them go. So
Bungie just let go of some people, which is still technically a Sony thing. But it's going across the industry. It's so, if you just look, it has been happening, I want to say, since the middle of last year, and just continuously, studio after studio, just losing hundreds of employees at a time. And there's been some smaller cases where smaller studios of like only 50 people laying off about 20 folks of this workforce. It's huge numbers, huge percentages of their overall stock of employees that are just losing their jobs. And what's unfortunate is some of the more unique stories that we don't even think about, because it's not just people who are, losing their jobs. Oh, well, go find something else. A lot of times with gigs like this, these are individuals who are contracted and told that they have to move. Like they have to get up their whole family, move to a different state, a different city in order to continue to work at this particular studio. And they do so, find housing or whatever else, blah, blah, blah. And then within a month or two are let go. It is so inhumane. And it is a huge crisis that is happening. And so I just, as Game Clique, we need to, speak on that.
Capitalism sucks, dude. Capitalism fucking sucks.
As always. Rolling into that though. Rolling into that. We got Helldivers 2. Which completely blew everyone out of the water. And it actually allegedly has some AAA game developers shaking in their boots because they're like, wait, you can produce quality video games that only cost $40 with a studio of about 100 employees? How does this happen?
No predatory microtransactions. No.
So Helldivers 2, for those who don't know, is I don't even know how to explain this gameplay. I've never even. Well, how do I explain this?
It's a squad-based PvE third-person shooter.
There we go. Those things, those metrics. But you're fighting in the democracy. against bugs and termites. This is a PlayStation exclusive, but you can also play it on PC. There's actually a huge push in order to try to get some Xbox players involved, just because it would help with the metrics. The way that it works is that a planet has a percentage of liberation, and based on the success missions of the players as the overall conglomerate, determines whether or not that planet gets liberated or not. There is definitely room, and there's definitely been people who have already, created their critiques and political regimes of like, what does this say about the larger society and like, army and warfare and all that. But if you're just here to game, which a lot of times we are, this is fun. This is super, super fun. You are a unnamed soldier in a war, and you are going out here colonizing planets that are run by bugs and robots. And it feels great. And it has friendly fire. It's funny. It brings a lot of the comedy from like I believe it's the Star Trooper series. Is that it?
Starship
Troopers or Shot Troopers?
Starship
Troopers. It's heavily inspired by that particular media. I mean, you get influence throughout. Something that I thought was unique is that pretty much everyone that's on your ship, so the main hub before you're going out to go to do your missions, pretty much everyone on the ship is Black, and that is hilarious to me because there's a critique about in various forms of media, including Star Wars, about how Black people don't make it to the future. And in this version, Black people are in it. And ironically, they are not going down there on the field. They are doing the management, doing the shooting the missiles and everything else, blah, blah, blah. And just based off of like the voice acting, the way that I see it is like it's the white people who are sacrificing their lives fighting for the democracy. And Black people are like, yeah, go ahead, go do that. Do that. So that feels pretty awesome. But yeah. And Champ actually invites me to play with him occasionally.
Wow.
It's actually a new development in Game Clique history.
Whenever
this man will actually like, hey, you want to play Helldivers? Who knew?
Whenever I need a fourth.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible.
But yeah, you briefly touched on, and I want to do this a service because it's not just a coincidence that the tone of the game, it's definitely satire on over militarization and how some countries that were they nameless kind of use patriotism they kind of hide behind patriotism when it's really just kind of like you're going out for resources. That really was the tongue-in-cheek theme of Starship Troopers, where the soldiers were told they were going off to this planet to stop this alien race from invading Earth. But the alien race weren't invading. We're literally going to their planet to destroy them. So that is the joke. So a lot of people aren't getting the joke. There are a lot of people who are playing this game.
That's on social media, unfortunately. That's just a thing, especially Twitter. God knows I hate Twitter. But it is the thing. But yeah. So, I mean, what's your favorite weapon? What is your go-to loadout right now? I am more into the sentries and turrets. That's like my preferred thing. What do you rock at?
So I like to be super balanced, right? So I have the breaker, which is the game's version of automatic
just
shotgun.
got nerfed this week.
I haven't launched the game since the last update, so I don't know how bad.
Yeah, I haven't either. Yeah.
But yeah, normally before that, it would be the game's automatic shotgun. Then my support weapon would be the sniper rifle, because I think they both kind of go hand in hand, like the shotgun for short range stuff and then the sniper rifle for long range stuff. I always keep a freaking turret on me. I keep that turret on me. I keep
your
turban
on turban. Turban on turban. Doing it good. Turban on turban. Right.
And
how to go around
the supply pack. Because that's
you got the supply pack.
I always keep the supply
I
pack.
have no use for that thing. But yeah, so I pretty much rock like 3 turrets, and my favorite loadout, if I can get away with it, is 3 turrets and then the rail cannon strike orbital. I prefer at this point fighting the bugs, just because the bugs was the first faction I went against, and they whipped my ass, and we have to get my revenge. So that's right now I prefer fighting against them. The automatons, I haven't done a lot of missions against them. Ironically, I need to queue up with some people to start doing those. It's just much more tactical because they can shoot back. So you got to be a little bit more clever.
I don't think a lot of people, I don't have the percentages up here. So the cool thing about Helldivers 2, well, one of the cool things about Helldivers 2 is that literally everybody is working together. You touched on it briefly, that everybody's working together to liberate the planets, and it updates you live the percentage of how much planet is liberated based on how many missions are getting completed. So if you pull up one of those automaton planets, it's always like 0.000002. Like people
don't like when people get shoot back. When people get shoot back, it's a little difficult. It's a little difficult.
I like those. Like I like the mission types over there.
But you like the defense mission specifically, but
I like them because they're quick.
Yes,
get in, get out.
But I think the thing that I hate the most about the automatons is they have essentially like their own turrets, but they have these towers that you have to destroy with explosive rounds, and they look. Was I playing with you? Probably. This was one of the most hilarious moments. I should have like screenshotted, recorded this. I was going prone and I was shooting against the robots, and somebody I was with in my party, they was like, "Hey, look at that tower right there. Be careful, look at that tower. Be careful and be aware." So I look at the tower while still prone, and the tower turns to me and shoots me. And I was looking at it. I looked at it. I exploded immediately. It was devastating. But yes, fun game. Had huge server issues at launch, but not a fault of the developers. The issue was the game had become so popular, but they were completely unprepared. Helldivers 1, which was a top-down version of this game, only had at most, I think, around 10,000 players at its peak. And this game has crossed into the 700,000 concurrent players. And it was a completely turnaround of what they expected. Again, the game is only $40. And because of that, they had to scrap their entire roadmap in order to produce a new one, because it's just, a lot more investment is going into it now. There's rumors that Sony is looking to formally acquire Arrowhead now because of the success of Helldivers. I would not be surprised. But yeah, really, really great game. I suggest anyone that wants something that you can play with friends, please get Helldivers. I think it's an exceptional gaming experience. And I definitely foresee the same way that the From Software games had an impact where everyone copied off of them. There are going to be a lot of people that copy this Helldivers model going forward.
In all fairness, it would be a little shitty if Sony announces that they're buying Arrowhead Studios less than a month after they laid off a ton of people. But
eventually. But yes, I mean, it's true. I mean, that's the thing. But Sony does have a high yield. They helped to build up Helldivers. Something more for the geeky and technical side. I forget the name of the engine, but Helldivers 2 was actually built on a game engine that has not had any support for like the past 7 years. So they used the exact same engine that they had used for Helldivers 1. And when they started the project of Helldivers 2, somewhere along the lines of that project, that studio that was running that game engine closed up and they moved on to a different engine. And so the developers of Helldivers 2 started to code and modify that engine to make it their own. And it was another amazing way that they had cut costs and wound up creating just such an amazing gaming experience. It's crazy. Something more for the geeky side.
Autodesk Stingray is the name of the engine.
Yes, that thing. All right.
Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown.
We talked about this. We were talking this up and it launched. What was your thoughts on Prince of Persia?
I loved it. So it's in my wheelhouse. So I'm really more surprised. Well, not surprised. I'm really more intrigued to hear what you think. But I love it. It's given one of my favorite Metroidvanias of all time, Hollow Knight competition, in regards to whether this is going to be my new Metroidvania, my new favorite Metroidvania. I still haven't beat it yet because I'm getting a little sidetracked with everything else that's coming out.
How many things was coming? Yeah.
But
I'm pretty much at the end. I'm at the end, but I refuse to go to the boss because I kind of want 100% the map before I finish up. Long story short, it became my favorite Metroidvania.
Hell yeah.
Period. I love the combat. The combat is heavily inspired by the likes of a DMC kind of game. They took a lot of inspiration from Devil May Cry when it came to combat sequences. Movement feels good. The map is beautiful. It's a nice looking map to interact with. Story leaves some more to be desired. This is a new Prince of Persia timeline. You're not really getting anything from previous Prince of Persia. So if you're looking for that, I'm sorry, this is not it. This is its own unique story. I think that one of the things that stands out to me that I like the most is that when you eventually get the powers and the different abilities that you can use to traverse the map, is there's no resource tied to it. You're just able to use these powers when and wherever you want and be as creative as you want with them. It's dope. I love that there's no resource tied to it. The only resource that you really have to manage besides your health is this super bar. I play on hard mode. So it's based on how well you do in combat. You can fill up like these bars and do like these ultra powerful, attacks when you get enough.
I said slight flex. But the hard mode.
I guess. Well, technically, I play on Mortal. That's the mode that they But another thing that I'm glad you brought it up because I think one other thing that was super important about this game is that they have the ability to customize your difficulty to the minute details. So, say for instance, there's some people where it's like, well, I don't mind combat difficulty, but the platforming difficulty, they have ways that you can tweak that. Or if they was like, I don't mind combat difficulty, but I still want like, my normal size health bar, you can tweak that, things like that. It was a really, really good accessibility options when it came to customizing your difficulty. And I hope more games take inspiration from that because I'm one of the people who I love to play games on the hardest difficulty possible without you taking away key game features. There's a lot of games like, for instance, Last of Us, where it's like if you try to play on the hardest mode, it's like, okay, but you don't have a listen mode. And it's like, that's not what I wanted. I want to be able to play with all the features that I still have. I would have normally and then go against these tougher, enemies. So yeah, Prince of Persia is super dope. I just wanted to make space to talk about it because we have been talking it up. And in addition, I still did not get to watch the video yet, but please tell me, Tales of Kenzera ZAU just had a showcase with Xbox this week in their partnership program, and we've been talking about that because this is led by an African man who is going through his story. I believe it's a story of grief, if I'm not mistaken. And it is another Metroidvania that looks gorgeous. It has like the art style of like Oro in the Whispers or something like that. But yes, you saw it. What are your thoughts? Is it still looking good? Are we moving forward? Should we question it?
Yeah, it still looks really good. The trailer that they just showed off went way more in depth in regards to the gameplay and the combat, and it looks really quick. It looks really fast, and it almost like I would be concerned about Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown coming out before it and kind of stealing its thunder if Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown didn't sell so bad. So I do think that these two can share a space.
It's unfortunate that it did. I understand why it's so bad because nobody wanted this game, but it is really good. Yeah. Well, here at Game Clique, we're gonna do our best to champion Tales of Kenzera. Hoping that it's good. So yes. Last but not least is Project L has been renamed to a ridiculous name.
Ridiculous Project L.
It's absolutely. For those who don't know, League of Legends, they have been expanding and going into different genres. Shout out to Arcane. I'm actually rewatching it with a friend right now, trying to prepare them for season 2. Uh, can't wait. Oh my god, I can't wait. But League of Legends is also developing a two 2-on-2 fighting game. Combat very similar to like the Marvel versus Capcom styles of fighting games. And for the longest time, this project was called Project L. They renamed it to 2XKO. So if you're looking for more details on the former Project L, please look up 2XKO. If you're interested in a free to play, by the way, 2-on-2 fighter that has combat similar to the Marvel vs. Capcom series. The game is gorgeous. There's no way to get around that. I cannot wait. This is one of the first games where I see a black character in the fighting game, and I actually am excited to play the black character, not just because they black kind of thing. Like he actually looks sick. So Echo is like dominating here. He has time powers. I am ready to play with this guy so bad. So yeah.
Just when you think we were about to get away from the Killmonger Dread thing, it pulls you right back in.
Yeah, we're not. We're not going to get away from it. And you bring that up, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but there's a lot of people, and IGN just talked about it recently, ironically, saying, can we get rid of the hairstyle? I want to be careful that we're not saying get rid of the hairstyle, but have more options.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right?
I want to be, yeah.
Because I don't want to get into a space where we're back to just afros and close fades. Like, there's not a thin line between having just this and having just that. Like, recognize that there are a plethora of black hairstyles, of African hairstyles, and just come on, man. Like, we're tired of this. Like, I know nobody in real life that has this hairstyle.
The fact that and I want to be clear, and just for transparency for the audience, and I don't even know if you know this, but I grew my locks because of Killmonger. Like I wanted the Killmonger look originally, and I got it, and then I just didn't feel like cutting it, and here we are. But hey, I was rocking that hairstyle. It was amazing. It was beautiful. It was one of the really affirming, and I thought it it just looked cool. It was dope. And I've seen quite a few people rock it, but it was not the only identity they had, and eventually of course locks grow. So I think it's a shame that the imagination of these creators is so limited when it comes to Black people, but that is a huge system outside of just game and art design, period, right? Like we know that there's other work that has to be done, but their imagination is so limited. I mean, for the longest time, the only way that they knew how to design a black character was a fucking afro. So I'm glad we've moved away from that, but the idea that that Black people can only have one hairstyle at a time, get out of here. Get out of here.
Yeah. Well, look, man, so now it's time for first, not just the audience to get to know us, but for you and I to get to know each other a little more, right? We've taken some time. Each of us have written 5 questions that we have for each other. Now, I know y'all watching and listening at home. You're like, what? I want to ask some questions. So if you're watching this live on the watch party, feel free to drop your questions
in the chat.
Yeah. Me and Duke are watching in the live chat. Feel free to drop your questions in the live chat. We're going to answer you live, or you can shoot your questions to question@realgameclick.com, and we'll ask you your questions on the next episode or whenever I feel like it. If they're cool questions, I'm not answering no. I don't want to go more in depth, but. So, which one of us are going to start this off? Who's going to go? Me? You? Me? You?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Right. Cool. Question number 1. Marry, kill.
All right. Okay.
Setting the tone off.
All right.
Setting the tone. Genshin Impact. Final Fantasy 14, Mortal Kombat X.
Oh my god, this is crazy. All right, Mary. This is actually it's not a difficult answer for me. I already know it immediately. It just sucks that I have to do this.
Somebody got to go.
So
somebody's got to die.
I'm married in Final Fantasy 14.
Okay.
All right. I have way too many memories in this game. I actually got married in the game. I am fucking heavy. Mortal Kombat X. Down bad. Bent over, ass up all day. Mortal Kombat X is getting it. All right. Consistently while married. And I gotta kill Genshin.
Wow.
Gotta kill it. So I spent a lot of money at Genshin, and I don't say that, easy or lightly. It's just that I don't think the developers of Genshin actually respects the community as at large. They have a bunch of other projects that are similar, or in some ways similar as a gacha game anyway, to Genshin Impact, and they reward those fan bases and player bases much, much more than they do Genshin. And Genshin players have been asking for certain quality of life features for over the past 3 years and things like that. There has been like a somewhat small call for a boycott. I can't say that I fully supported the boycott. I did not spend money during this boycott period. It's just that I knew that as an overall, I don't think our financial impact would hit them, and it looks like it did not compared to the larger community. So I think just as a personal merit, I would have to kill Genshin Impact off. I still check in, I play like every now and then, but I'm not as invested as I used to be, and I'm definitely not spending money. I'm not even buying the battle pass or anything at this time. So yeah.
I should have picked another game.
It is.
I'm shocked though. Well, it's been a while since I checked in on you and your feelings on Genshin. So
it happens. It happens. Eventually we get fixed. You lose your gambling addiction. Eventually. You get therapy. You fix it out.
All right, so you go.
Oh, all right. Are you pro-black? Explain.
Wow. What? This question is going to make or break us. We're probably, if I say the wrong thing, and we're going to get canceled.
Indeed.
I mean, yeah, for selfish reasons, yes, I do consider. I have some investment in the black community. Let's say, yeah, man, yes. I do consider myself pro-black. I really can't believe I respect you asking me this question, but I can't believe that this question can be asked to people and they say the inverse thing. Like, I just really can't imagine why you wouldn't be.
Candace Owens will tell you she's pro-black in a way. Like, I actually had a real direct, before she got famous, I had a whole dialogue with Candace Owens because I saw her stuff on the internet. It was on Facebook. And before she got famous, I was like, what is this? Like, and I just wanted to engage with her as a normal person, individual. And the way that she articulated, at least back then, I'm pretty sure maybe, perspectives and things change. And I do not rock with this woman at all. God knows I don't. But I always want to make space. When I say that I'm pro-black, I mean that I am pro-black. Like, I am here for the entire diaspora. And I know we have our issues. I know that we have our individuals who do not support our causes and things like that. However, I think the labor of working towards unity of black people is just so much more worth it than isolating. And in comparison, I think there's a lot of people that spend, not saying anyone who watches this channel, thank God, right? But there's a lot of individuals in our community who do so much labor that they focus on trying to create unity with white folks that they forget how to do that within black communal spaces. So that's like the space that I live in. It's like, any energy as far as like creating and being kumbaya with white people, I'm not with that. But doing it with black folks, I think is worth it, even when they're telling me all kinds of horrible anti-human things. But I think that's just so much more worth it than partnering and doing things with other communities.
Well, that's the thing. Like,
yeah,
it's a gift and a curse, right? How big the diaspora is, and how like the agenda is not just one straight vision. Like, everybody thinks of pro-black as it's different things, it's different goals. Everybody wants different things, and I don't think it. If you ask me that right now, black or white, if I thought Candace Owens was a little misguided, yeah, I do, but I don't think she's the villain that everybody.
I think she's a product of villainy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah,
I try to gauge it. I think she's a product of villainy.
yeah.
And these are the things that we have to contend with.
Mhm.
But don't want to spend too much time talking about her because she ain't paying me. But the real highlight of this question, I had left it off, was more so,
Mhm.
what community endeavors are you working on in the future? Go ahead, put it out there.
Oh,
Yeah.
like this, I knew it was an
Yes.
ulterior motive. So, me and Duke, we talk. Obviously, I don't want y'all to think that we
Yeah.
just talk for this hour and a half every 2 weeks and then we go about our business. So we talk about I do want to start a nonprofit eventually. I'm not going to go in depth about like the names or stuff because that's still in the works. I don't want to like jinx anything, but I'm very passionate about the video game industry. And I think one thing that keeps a lot of people, specifically the Black community, out of it is that cost of entry. You got to get the $500 consoles. You got to have a $2,000 PC. You got to buy the $70 pop games. And that keeps people from figuring out that they may possibly love video games because they can't afford them. And I think we need to do a job of not just making them accessible, but preserving them just like how libraries preserve books, just like how they do movies or, any other type of media. We need to treat video games the same way. So I really do want to start a nonprofit, specifically in Baltimore for the time being, where there's this hub where people just go in there and play games for free. Check out games that are new, check out games from the 80s, check out, and figure out that this shit is cool. It's not just, games are more than Minecraft.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that. Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, what you got? What you got? What question?
All right. So I thought I already prepped you with this question early because I wanted you to have some time to think about it because I had to think about it personally and I had to go back. Do you remember the first time you played as a Black character in a video game?
Yes, absolutely. Crash Bandicoot.
Oh my God. What?
Absolutely. No, I gotta be real. So when I saw this question in the lineup, it like triggered. It really did trigger me because I was like, I don't know. I don't fucking know. And the question specifically, also you didn't mention it said without sports. Non-sports related, not that I really play sports. And so for me, the way that I calculated was I included fighting, boxing, and wrestling games in that conjunction of sports. So I had to completely erase that part of my background. And I was shocked when I realized what was my first technical story with like a Black protagonist to play. And it didn't happen. I was born in 1992. It didn't happen until 2009. Resident Evil 5 with Sheva.
Wow, that's a wow.
If I'm not counting fighting games,
yeah.
And things like that, it was in Sheva. And it was a few months after that, it would be Final Fantasy 13 with Saz, who had the damn afro with a chocobo in his head. So that was my first Black gaming experience.
See, that's it's good because like Sheva's dope.
Yes, but we were in Africa partnering with a colonizer.
That's a rough one.
And doing quite some horrible things. But so yeah, that was my first Black character in a video game. And it really shocked me. And the reason why, and we haven't talked about this, and I don't want to go too far in depth, but as a writer, I normally have to contend with the fact that there's a concept of decolonizing your imagination. So when I was in high school, I was writing like my own story, right? And I played nothing but JRPGs mostly when I was younger. And I had no conscience, no idea until it was pointed out to me that all of my main characters was like either heavily light-skinned or just not Black. And I didn't do it intentionally. It was just my imagination did not allow me to see melanated characters in these grand epics. And that was because of course, programming and things like that. And I realized I was like, damn, if my first Black character interaction outside of a fighting game was until 2009 and I graduated in 2010, well, no wonder.
Yeah.
Like, here we are.
Yeah. Mine was Skate from Streets of Rage 2. It's a little
A little more safe.
little more safe.
There's skate sports though. That's like for
Yeah.
me, like as a yeah.
So I don't know which one I played first because I was a Nintendo kid, so I didn't have the Sega Genesis. I had like the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, and stuff like that. My cousin, who I like to go over his house a lot, he had the Sega Genesis, and he had Streets of Rage 2, which had Skate in it, and he also had Michael Jackson Moonwalker, which starred Michael Jackson. So I don't remember which one I played first, but it was one of those two.
When he transitioned, right? but yes.
Yeah, those are my two, or one.
Okay. Yes. No.
All right. Question.
My question is, as a father, what game, whether it be for story, gameplay, experience, or otherwise, would you want your kids to play?
So I have two. I have two sons. One is currently 16, and the other one is about to turn 3. So
You're a breeder. You're a breeder.
So it's really, so the way I handled it with the older one is I really didn't guide him too much. I wanted to see what he liked, and then I kind of jumped in and made suggestions based on that already, because I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to be the older guy, but like, all right, well, if you don't play Super Mario 3, you don't know gaming. You know, like I didn't want to gatekeep my own child. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to see where he leaned, and then I made suggestions based on that.
Okay.
I seen that he really liked the stuff the kids that age normally like the Minecrafts and stuff like that. But he really did take a liking to Call of Duty, just like most kids that age. So I made suggestions based on that, and we both sat down and played Army of Two. I don't know if you heard of that.
I've heard of it. I never got to play it.
So good.
Yeah, I didn't have friends. Yeah. I remember Army of Two. I wanted to play.
It's so good. So for people that don't know, Army of Two was this
PS3, right? Yeah.
PS3 and Xbox 360 game.
No one cares about that. PS3 era.
Made by EA. It was made with co-op in mind. So you play as one of two mercenaries, basically, and the story really doesn't matter. You're these two mercenaries, you're in this Middle Eastern looking country, and you have to deliver democracy or whatever. But it was really cool because you had these co-op-esque moves that it really kind of, that you got to use during the game. And it emphasized,
I remember like you had to help somebody climb up kind of thing. It was
really emphasized working together. I'm trying to find some gameplay. This game is old.
Yeah.
The trailers I'm pulling up is from like 11 to 12 years ago. It looks like it came out 2012. All right.
And it had a sequel, if I'm not mistaken.
Army of Two, Devil's Cartel. I didn't play that one. I only played the original. This one, but it's so good. It's so fun. Stupid, dumb fun. Just stuff blowing up. It's like Michael Bay, the video game.
Okay.
Yeah. It is just, so another reason, some people who know me, they know where I'm going to take this. So there is a game that I hold near and dear to my heart that I bought just because
I don't know this.
50
Cent.
Cent.
The only thing I want to say is Sonic.
No.
My God.
Everybody knows Sonic. That's not a secret. 50 Cent Blood on the Sand.
Oh my gosh.
50 Cent Blood on the Sand is literally Army of Two with 50 Cent in it. That's literally what it is. It's a co-op third-person shooter with the emphasis on co-op action and working together with your partner to get through these linear stages, is just with some dope 2000s 50 Cent music and Lloyd Banks for some reason. But yeah, the game's so good. I don't know when I'm gonna push my
expose the 3-year-old too.
He already has a liking to Mario because he really likes the Mario movie.
Okay.
So maybe that, but the thing is, like, Mario games are deceptively hard. Like, a lot of people don't want to admit that.
Indeed.
They're hard.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. I'll play it by ear.
All right. Cool. What you got?
Okay. This is super, like, nitty-gritty industry stuff. But
okay.
But no, I think this is a prep one. So if you could change one thing, anything that happened in...
Yeah, I never knew how to answer this. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry, repeat it because I cut you off. Repeat it.
So if you could change any one event that happened in gaming history that would change the way we see things now, what would you do? And I put it as an example, like Sega not giving up on making consoles, or Sony not allowing Insomniac to be their own person and creating Sunset Overdrive that's now locked on the Xbox.
What if Sony and Nintendo created that dream console back then? I think it would be... See, this is difficult for me to answer because I don't even know all the details about why this doesn't even exist, right? Or why it didn't work out. I have some ideas of why it didn't, because they stopped focusing on video games and just try to become like a consumer con and things like that. But in a world in which I value and I love the video game awards for what it could be and what it has done, it definitely needs some things to improve. I wish that E3 had became the platform that it started off as. Ironic. That's ironic. I wish that it became that still.
So you basically wish E3 didn't die.
Yeah. Because there are other consumer electronics and things like that. But I just feel like there needs to be more conventions that are just focused and geared towards gaming that are happening throughout the year. There should never be like just one or two. There needs to be a multitude of these experiences. And I think now I do know one thing is that it did put pressure on developers, and it was create like some random demos sometimes and things like that. So definitely manage it in a different way. But as an overall experience for the consumers to gather and be amongst each other, I think that E3, I would love for it to still exist, and also to not just be landlocked to Cali. Like, I think it should have like moved around additionally. But yeah.
Well, we still have PAX, which is
PAX East,
which is never going to be as big as what E3 was. E3 was like the Mecca. But yeah, we have.
But I've never been to PAX, unfortunately.
We should go one year. We should plan. It's probably a little too late to plan PAX East now because it starts in April. But yeah, we should plan PAX East. It's only in Boston. It's not that far.
Okay. Yeah, I've been up there before. It's very cold. I hope it's not doing the snow. The last time I went, it was snowing. I was like, good God, why am I here?
South by Southwest, they have like a little gaming kind of thing. It's not as big as E3. But there are things that the holes are being filled. I don't know if it's ever going to, that E3 size hole is ever going to get filled for real, but there's stuff.
VJs is trying. It's doing this thing.
They're trying. I mean, but also like, but VJs does have a actual in-person part of it where you can actually go and like, well, Summer Game Fest does. I don't know if the Game Awards does. Where you can actually go and physically play.
I think there's like pull-up trucks or something where for some of those, but yeah.
Yeah, it sucks about E3 because I never got to go. I always wanted
Me either. I watch the videos every year though. I guess to that extension, ironically, this did come back, but it failed immediately. G4 TV. I just wish there was a way for it to work, you know. I think there could have been something, but I just don't know where their direction was.
Yeah, I don't think they did either. I think they literally just picked the biggest personalities on the internet and tried to put them in a broadcast situation. And then I think they learned quickly that just because, like, being a broadcast personality, completely different than just being popular on Twitter. Like, it's a lot of training you got to know. It's a lot of stuff you got to know. And some of these guys and girls that they picked clearly got outclassed very quick. And I think that was one of the problems. But
I just love for more spaces that focus and highlight video games and culture. So I wish those two places particularly did what needed to be done for it to be a cohesion. As much as like I'm a big fan of like Sony and like I like somewhat participate in the console war and things like that, I want these kinds of spaces to exist as the union spaces for everybody.
We're making them, buddy.
Yes. Indeed.
We're here. We are. What's up? What's the next question?
I need to ask you something. I know that you have curated gaming tournaments, right? But besides like the one or two times you had participated in a critical hit tournament, have you ever competed or wanted to compete in a video game tournament?
We don't talk about that critical hit tournament that I had to play. Yo, I had to play in a Halo Infinite tournament just because like there was like one more slot left in it or something, and I had to jump in there, and I got embarrassed. It was
embarrassed.
Look, I've never played Halo competitively. I really liked Halo 2. And I was like, what's Halo 2? Halo Infinite, same thing. It's not. It's not. But no, so that's the funny thing is like I as much as I like video games, I don't play them too much in a competitive space. The last tournament, like for like a cash prize that I've participated in, very long time ago. It's a fighting game called Clay Fighters 63 1/3. Have you heard of it?
Of course not.
So
what console was this on?
The Nintendo 64.
It sounded like a Game Boy Advance title, like Game Boy Color. Sorry.
So Clay Fighters has this like very niche like following. There's some people that are like some hardcore people that really like that game. It's not the greatest fighting game, but at the time I was a kid, and the selling point to Clay Fighters is that it looked like claymation. Like all the fighters look like they're made out of clay. They're moving like they're like clay. Like back then, stop motion animation was really big.
You're unlocking a memory for me, and I can't remember what this show was. It was this wrestling show where it was all clay and like they would beat each other up. Do you remember what this was? It's oh my god, my memory. And they were brutally beating each other up in this show, and I was just watching it all the time. Oh my god, wrestling shows.
Celebrity Deathmatch.
Celebrity Deathmatch. Bring that back. Oh my god. Okay. All right. I just had to get that out.
I don't think
mentioning play and fighting, and it just brought up.
People would. I don't know. I mean, MTV got away with it. You can't really sue because it's parody.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are too sensitive for that now. I don't think we can.
No,
I don't think it would fly.
So hilarious.
Taylor Swift would end.
You can give me fake personalities. I don't need them to be blah blah blah. Just give me fake personalities like wrestling and move on. But yeah,
I'm really good at Tetris. So I think that would be the only game that I would.
There's no local tournaments here.
Yeah, I know, but so
I told you I got introduced you to my friend Miles. Y'all really are the same person. Like he's a big Tetris person.
Yeah,
and he specifically there's like this version like Puyo or something that was on Switch. Yeah, he's really a big fan of those. Do you play that one?
I play No, I play Tetris 99 on the Switch. That's the one where like it's a battle royal.
Okay.
Like I'm really good at that. I won a couple of rounds of that. I don't know if I'll actually like enter a tournament because like those guys at the pro level are crazy.
Yeah. Indeed.
I'm not touching.
I mean, but that's the thing in any like competitive place though. Like at some point you reach a tier that is just these people, this is their life. This is all they do. But yeah. Noted. Now I know a little bit more about it.
So you know my gaming like style, like what I pick, what I normally lean on, what I play and stuff like that, right? I know I play a little bit of everything, but there's stuff that I normally like really gravitate to.
Mm-hmm.
If there was a game that you could introduce me to that would change my whole worldview, what I think a good game is, what would it be?
What you think a good game is?
Yeah, something I'd be like,
I don't know I feel like we so off put because like when you told me that like God of War Ragnarok was just like okay for you, I'm like, bro, I don't know, no, I don't know what to do. Change your worldview.
Like I don't say you don't have to promise that like it has to work, but what would be your strategy to be like? And first of all, hold on. I did not say Ragnarok was okay. Like I just don't think that it's like the ground. I think it's a phenomenal game. Let's backpedal a little bit. I just don't think it's like some people put it as like this generation defining game, and I don't think it's that. But it's good. It is a really good, it is a great game. It's one of the best games on the PlayStation 5. Currently, for the time being.
That game is amazing to me. But like, why do we want to joke and like just say like some Amazon developed yes? Change your worldview. So the thing is that like you don't like to read.
I think absolutely
you can't read.
I do not. There's some voice actors in here.
But you did play that one reading game, indie game. It was like black and white, and like there was a evil character or something. Undertale, yes. You did play that.
Yes, I do read in games. To clarify that, is this what this whole section is going to be? Is me like fighting the slander? I play games that have reading in it. I don't like when a game uses like diaries and journals and codex as a crutch for storytelling. Like I don't want to go to a table.
Oh no, it's mostly dialogue in this game.
Yeah.
But I don't. All right. So in order to answer this, I need to ask you one question. So in order to figure this out, are there any games that spoke to you just from a story perspective, where like you just keep it with you? You don't got to go in depth. I just need to know if there's any games where it's just like, damn, that story impacted like how I may think about some things.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta go with an Old Faithful. This game, anyone that I know that actually takes the time to sit down and play it, walk away mind blown kind of thing. Xenogears on PS1. It is so much packed into that game. It is. So I have like this thing, right? Outside of gaming, I have like this thing where like any of my friends, if you're a close friend of mine, like we got to sit down and watch Dr. Joy the Grew together, right? Post-traumatic slave syndrome. We got to watch it together in order to continue our friendship. It's just a thing. And if I could make that a thing for as video games, I would want it to be a Xenogears. And I think what it would do for you, one is an RPG, JRPG. So it's within your wheelhouse for like the Persona series, things like that. It's just that it's so old that you do have to do some reading. But the reading is like almost exclusively dialogue or like internal monologue. So you're not looking at journals and things like that. The story just keeps up in pace. There is so many different story beats and things that it tackles, from the lines of religion to political warfare to direct introspection of like, what does it mean to achieve something or resolve a conflict, whether it be internal or external. It goes into like Sigmund Freud ideologies and things like that. It covers a gambit of things. So much is packed into it, and I just think that if you had that kind of game in your catalog somewhere, it would just open you up to even more games that I like to play.
Yeah, man, this
So,
definitely looks like something I would jam with. So the reason I missed it is because I didn't personally own a PS1. I had a at the time a Nintendo 64, and like my friend, I had a close friend who lived on my block who had a PS1, but his parents were a little too cheap, so all we were playing on it was like the demos.
okay.
We were playing like demo discs, so we played like the first level in Crash Bandicoot. That's it.
I miss Pizza Hut. That's what I should have answered for that question. Bring back the underground discs at Pizza Hut.
Oh
Like bring those back.
That was my
That
era.
should have never left.
That was my
ever.
You had to
PlayStation
really-
Underground. That was a hit.
You had to put in work to play demos. It was really like you wasn't just downloading them. Oh my God. Wait, was that my question?
Yes, it was. Damn, but I forgot. All right. What do we have here? What do you think that American esports needs to do to be as respected as it is in places like Dubai? Do you have a perspective?
To quote a wise person, Mr. Krabs, money. We need somebody who really is taking it seriously and like invest the money that those people and those politicians over there are investing the money in to flourish. Like we have a lot of like rich people here in America that are investing in it, but they're really kind of like dipping their toes in. They kind of just like, all right, I want to put my stake in here for when it gets big, but they don't want to be the person who really like takes the risk of putting the money in it to make it big. Like specifically in this area, Ted Leon's the guy that owns the Wizards and the Capitals. He really has invested some money in like Overwatch League and some stuff here to NBA 2K League, but it's pales in comparison to what Dubai is investing in. And that's really what's holding it back here, because mainly people don't play in these tournaments for pride. People play in these tournaments for money. They want the prizes. They want a big purse. And a lot of these tournaments, unless you're going to Combo Breaker, unless you're going to Evo, you're not seeing that.
I was curious because there's also still the component, at least from what I see in America, that a lot of people still think video games is just strictly as a childish component. And so there's not enough consumer buy-in for people to think, and maybe even investors shared that, that perspective, that it is not a career choice. And it's like if you travel, like I think one of the latest developments I saw is in Turkey, and they are going ham. Like with the amount, like if you think of like the Super Bowl, like the amount of investment that is happening in esports over there is on the same scale to bigger than the Super Bowl. They have huge stadiums and domes that are exclusive to video games and competitions, and these people aren't, you're right, they are getting paid. But if those same societies are not, I don't have friends or associates from these places, and to contend with the same level of, this is not a career choice, this is an extracurricular activity. And I wonder how much, if at all, that may play a part.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like executives, I mean, we're seeing it now in how the video game industry itself is changing. a lot of that change is being guided by executive level people who have no idea how the video game industry works. And it's the same thing with these people that are investing in esports. It's like, and like you're saying, like a lot of these people are like, oh, video games are just for kids. Let's just get some Fortnite stuff going on. Like, you're not paying attention to the industry at the lowest level, because like Grand Theft Auto 5 is the highest selling piece of anything ever.
Yeah, it is. And this is not hyperbole for those watching. This is the highest traded form of media, period, across movies, music, anything. Like just literally any form of media. Grand Theft Auto 5 is the highest form of traded media.
If you don't think the money's there, you're literally just not paying attention. Like, you're just, I don't know. But yeah, I really do think that that's the first hurdle before anything, is somebody really has to be like, if this is worth putting X amount of dollars in, I'm going to do that. I don't know who's going to do that, though.
Oh, no. We may get there. I think we're just now starting to actually get good media for video games that are outside of gaming. Like, we're starting to get TV shows and movies that actually do not disrespect what the source material was. So that just started happening within like the last 2 years. So maybe we'll get there.
I mean, also the economy as a whole is like not well. So
we have an interesting president in associates. That's quite a few. But yes.
Will you let me? So I guess we need to give the people who don't watch this on a regular basis a little background. You are a documented Sonic the Hedgehog hater. You hate him.
I gotta clarify. This is crazy. Now I gotta clarify. This is because this is actually not true. Like,
I got you on film, buddy.
Actually not true. One, I'm a troll. Two, I like Sonic more than Mario. I grew up on Sonic. I fucked with Sonic. The issue is that Sonic didn't fuck with Sonic. His developers were like really inconsistent. I was a big fucking fan of this little blue hedgehog. So yeah, I have a lot of fond memories of Sonic, but that's all they are. Oh, I'm quoting Final Fantasy X, but that's all they are. They're memories. Like, memories are nice, but that's all they are. So yes, I just want to clarify that I am not a hater of Sonic. I hate the inconsistencies of Sonic, if that makes sense.
What is the last Sonic Hedgehog game you played?
Ironically, it would be Sonic Forces, because I tried it when it was free.
Why would you do that?
I did. Ironically.
Like the last bad one. That's
so yeah. That would be my last Sonic game.
Would you, if I sat here and I picked a Sonic game for you, and I'd be like,
play this.
Duke would like this. Would you give it a try?
As long as it's not one of the Wii or Switch ones. Yes.
I would not make you play Sonic 06, even though I'm on 06 apologist, because I think the game is very broken. The game is very broken. But look, so there is a version of it, some fan made a version called like Sonic 06R, I think. It's on Steam. And it's basically, he took 06, sans bugs, took all the bugs and all the stuff out of it, added some more content, and it's a really good game because of it. And I would highly recommend you play it. Like, I know you don't have a PC.
No, you're going to have to drop the link in the description.
Let me see. I'm going to figure it out.
That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to drop the link for this download in the description.
I'm going to do it. I might put it on my Steam Deck and like let you hold my Steam Deck. Like, because...
But I want to be clear again, because I was even mentioning 06. It cannot be any story tale, werewolf, Black Knight,
no.
whatever. Sonic games. I
So
will cut you out.
so that's why that's why I pitched this. Like Sonic '06, the one thing that really worked for it was this
Mhm.
weird ass, like they really went all out for the story. Like it's very like JRPG Final Fantasy esque in regards to
Mhm.
where that story goes. And that's why I
Can I
think
put Peter on story speed dial?
you said what?
Can I put Peter on speed dial
That is
for the
once.
end of it? It's a very important
And it's
thing.
really not.
I know you like fucking fairy things in your video game, but this is a lot.
If I set this up for you, would you play
Mhm.
Sonic '06R or whatever it's called? Let me double check.
The reason, okay, the
The
super
fixed one.
refined
Yes.
version?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah, I could give that a try. I was interested in Silver back then. Let's see what's going on there. And I like Shadow. So, I mean, these are all three characters that, I would have liked if it was a good game.
Sonic P06 is what it's called.
Mhm.
Yeah, man, I'm gonna make this happen. We need to record this. We gotta like make some content out of this. I want everybody to be there. When I change your perception.
Everybody. I mean, but did you change my perspective if it wasn't made by the developers of Sonic?
Hey man, look,
Like, did you?
Sonic Team is not perfect. You'll be hard pressed to find somebody to not agree with you on that. But
What was the first video game you ever played?
oh man, but now it's going to make it seem like I'm old. I mean, I guess I already did that with my Streets of Rage.
And let me be more specific with it. What was the first video game that made a huge impression on you?
So the first one I ever played, and it might be the same answer for both.
Okay.
Was Super Mario Brothers 3 was the first.
Okay.
So
all right. Isn't that the one when he had like the
raccoon tail?
Raccoon tail? Okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
want to make
yeah.
sure. Okay.
Tanuki tail. I don't want people to like really get mad or anything, but yeah. So I got the Nintendo Entertainment System like very late into its console cycle. Like, somebody bought me the NES, and then the next year the Super Nintendo came out.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what it was. So I got that. It came with Super Mario 1, and he also got me Super Mario Brothers 3. And I played that, and like that blew my mind. Like at the time, so it's important to emphasize that this was late in the NES life cycle. So NES games up until that point, very ugly. Those games were like,
and this was
ugly.
really pretty. It had a lot of good
Yes.
like colors and things in that way. Yeah.
And it was big. It was big as hell. And this game came out like maybe like a year or two before Super Mario World. So yeah, this really blew my mind. At the time, I was like, games can't get any better than this.
Oh, that's crazy. I remember like my first time saying that, like back on the PS3 era or something. I think it was like Heavy Rain when I was like, oh my God, like this game is so gorgeous.
Man, I've said that
I had
embarrassing
no idea.
so many times.
No idea where we're bringing it.
I think I've seen WWF No Mercy, and I was like, whoa, this is realistic. But yeah, that was like really, and I think that cemented my like love for the Mario franchise too, because like,
okay,
at the time I don't think I've seen anything that weird that wasn't Disney. And yeah, blew my mind, man.
All right. Well, funny enough, my very first video game is actually the original Mario. I started out on a regular Nintendo. My mom, again, I think I shared this story before, but she was like shopping out of like some like discarded cart of video games at the end of a market somewhere, and like they had like this combination of Mario and Duck Hunt on the same cartridge. So she bought that for me, and she was like, "Yeah, it's the second game," but I couldn't play it because I didn't have the gun for Duck Hunt. So that Star Tropics and that. But I will always submit, like, I think when I became a gamer, even though I did play Final Fantasy 1 on the regular Nintendo, was actually Tomb Raider on PlayStation. When I got my very first PlayStation and I played Tomb Raider, and it was actually me and my mom going through it, and like she taught me how to like just check every nook and cranny. I'm still to this day, like, I very rarely miss pickups or chests to this day because I'm so used to Tomb Raider. Like the idea, like you could, we were struggling. We were struggling quite a bit in that game, losing a lot of health, and we needed every health back we could find. So playing that game is like just like really cemented like my huge interest in video games.
Did you play the reboot? Did you play the reboot yet?
No, not yet. I will be picking it up. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be getting it just because of the nostalgia factor. But yeah.
So yeah, I know a couple people who have played it. So the major concern that I've been hearing from people is so with Tomb Raider, they're old game.
Face controls?
Right.
What is it?
No, not even the controls. So some things they changed the art style for a lot of it to make it look a little more realistic. And part of that is the pickups. And the pickups, when you make them look more realistic, specifically keys, they blend into the environment. So sometimes you're looking for keys, and people can't find them because they're gray. Instead of like, you know how like Tomb Raider used to be like big floating yellow keys and just look like a video game power-up.
Yeah.
But now they're literally just gray keys lying on the ground.
Oh, well, that's just developers needing to do a little touch up.
I'm sure.
I'm actually sad to hear that because I do know that some of the developers for this are people who created video games in TRLE, which is Tomb Raider Level Editor, which is its own sub community. So I would have think they thought about that, foresaw that. But you know what I think probably happened? They probably thought they were creating this game strictly for people who've already played these games and like are super familiar with them. And it was just like, oh yeah, you know this key is here. Because that's who they were developing these games for, as far as the TRLE versions anyway, for the longest time. So I think they forgot that this is also an opportunity to expand to larger audiences. And they probably thought that the only consumer base was, previous consumers.
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunate. You gotta think about these things, people.
Horrible. Put it together.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, make sure to drop any questions that we didn't already touch on. Drop them joints in the chat. Drop them joints.
We'll be there.
Yeah. Drop them in our inbox. Questions.
I'm gonna find me a way to get some food. I'm gonna sit up, eat some snacks, rewatch this episode with y'all. Be dope.
And drop our questions at realgameclique.com, or you can find us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or TikTok at Real Game Clique. Hop in our DMs.
Yes.
Do go check them.
Oh, and I do have to, maybe. We got a social media manager now. We pay for that. But I do want to highlight that we are currently running a little internal campaign to get our first 100 followers on Instagram. We are at 49 currently. We're trying to get to 100 by the end of March. Help us out. If you like our content, if you want to see us keep going, we get the donations. We love you. Hit a little follow on Instagram. We will not bombard you with a whole bunch of craziness. We promise. No. We're just letting people keep up with what's going on as far as the local gaming.
Yeah, it's going to be some fun stuff going on. A lot of news drops, a lot of personal content drops.
And deals. Me and Champ have been securing the deals. We got some links. So when we drop them, we'll let you know how you can get some of these new AAA games for a little bit cheaper. Than asking price.
And some contests and some giveaways coming up soon. So yeah, make sure to follow us on Instagram or Twitter or I was about to say Twitch or YouTube or TikTok at Real Game Clique. If you want to follow me personally, you can follow me on anything at CharmCityChamp, except for TikTok's CharmCityChamp1. And Duke is on everything
as Duke_of_games. Yes.
There you go.
And my Twitter is not Duke_of_games, so I'm gonna find it here. But yes.
I'll drop the link in there. I'll drop the link. They're going to find you. And again, we'd like to thank Black Power Media for giving us a space that's the exclusive home for the video version of the full podcast. So if you're not already watching it there, go to youtube.com/Black Power Media period. Drop subscribe and check us out. We drop the full episode every other Friday at 3:30 over there. If you don't like looking at these pretty faces and you just want to listen to us, you can find the audio version of our podcast on your favorite podcast platform. Just look for Game Clique on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or any other platform, and look for the blue icon.
Yes. Be blue.
Any final...
He brought Sonic in.
That's you put it
Oh,
together.
I have nothing more to say. Listen, get out there and play some games. It is a great time for games if you have the money. This is crazy. I know Dragon's Dogma 2 is getting ready to launch soon. They're ramping up some more of their promo materials. Another huge project. I think it would be dope to look at.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, man, that's the show. Be good, stay good.
check us out. And if you know what's good for you, you will fight for the democracy. Helldivers, link up.
Good, stay good, be bye.
Bye.